Hi, welcome to Toyah and Robert Agony Aunts, here from our kitchen in the centre of downtown Breedenborough, Middle England.
It's rocking.
We're psyched to answer as many of your burning questions as we can with deeply unqualified answers that may redirect the trajectory of your lives.
This week they're really burning. Chris Sexton, you asked Robert, how many suits has Robert got? Because he always looks immaculate.
Well, this is a generous if misplaced assessment. I have 2 very good suits bespoke, one of which was a present from the brother of the tailor. I have 3 other good suits and several jackets and waistcoats which match in various combinations. But the key to this, I suggest, is varying the details, and I do have a selection of rather fine ties provided for me by my sweet-lipped wife.
Right. I like him in his Ted Baker suit because his legs look so dinky and so sexy. But my favourite is the Emperor's new suit. You look really hot in that. Oh, saucy beast. Scott Mayers, question for Toyah. Does it bother you that Robert wears a vest and tie in bed? You know, it's the cufflinks and it's the braces that really are uncomfortable. Because you won't take them off, will you?
Well, I changed my tie and put on my nightshirt.
Okay, and a string vest. He loves his string vest. Can't get it off him at all. Hans Peter, you ask, what was the second tuning? Well, it's the one after the first, isn't it?
Yes, so let's begin with the first tuning. This is the conventional tuning. Here's an E. The conventional standard tuning for guitar is based on fourths. So we go E, A, D, G, C, F, which are not included, B, E. So, rather fine. So hold that one in mind, and now we move...
to one he made earlier.
Yes, to the new standard tuning.
It's not easy being a guitarist. Complex.
So here we are, and this tuning, in distinction to the fourths of the other, is in fifths. C, G, D, A, E, G. Now, when first I used this tuning, I tried a B on the top, so it was for me to B. The strings kept breaking, simply too high a tension. I tried A's, once again too high tension, so I reduced it to a G. I have since been provided with handmade strings which hit A, but nevertheless, G has now been well established. So, if you remember, our first E chord over there on this tuning is... So we have... This is a magic chord, so from fourths to fifths. Is that it, lovey?
Fantastic. He's also like this in bed, which is probably why we never got round to having children. No Johns, 13 hours ago. I love these names. Question to you both. What is your favourite album that each other has made?
Oh, for me, that's easy. It's In the Court of the Crimson Queen. Sensational is my all-time fave Toyah song.
Well, that's fantastic. I really love Robert's work with David Sylvian, and I've just been to my sound library so that I could get the CD to show you, and someone has nicked it. So I'm going to hold up No Pussyfooting instead. Because when I was a punk rocker, this was one of the first albums I ever bought, because Robert's work at that time, including Discipline, was crossing over easily into the punk audience. So Luke, Dominic, you ask, do you feel it's important that your music ideology is carried on to new generations?
I have no ideology, and the music will find its own level, so the quick answer is no.
I think taking up someone else's ideology is up to the individual. It's totally subjective. It's a lifestyle choice. And Robert disappears for hours every day into his office in the morning to write his books, and then 4 hours into the cellar to practice guitar. Now, if you expect someone else to do that, that's a big ask. Because I've been married to him for 35 years now.
34, lovey.
And it's not been any different. So with my ideology, I would say anyone living a creative life through their own voice and through their own decisions and not through the fear of other people's opinions is a good life lived. So, how, TH19, this is such a great question. How on earth did we find each other?
Well, and thereby is a story. This is when we first met. This was at the Nordhoff Robbins Music Therapy Lunch in London, Park Lane, in 1983. And here is Princess Michael of Kent, here is my wife, and here is me. Now, when this photo was taken, the Papps descended, and I was well aware that the Papps were not interested in Robert Fripp. They were only interested in royalty and royalty. So I began to walk backwards, smiling politely, until this arm and hand of Princess Michael extended itself and pulled me back into the picture. So there are the three of us. However, the next day, the pictures, when they appeared in the daily press, I had been cut out of them.
That picture was on my kitchen wall where I lived in North London for another 2 to 3 years before I met Robert again. When you reminded me that you were actually part of that picture.
There we are.
Jeremy Williams, can you recreate your famous videos dressed as dinosaurs? At Thunder in the Mountains, me on the chariot, dressed as a dinosaur? Yeah. I Want to Be Free, smashing up wedding cakes as a dinosaur. I think it would be definitive. How about you?
I have no videos.
Yeah, but you could do it live on stage.
Actually, that's a concept.
I think people would be very happy. Mick Svensson. Hi, Robert and Toyah. I'd like your advice on this one. If I played King Crimson's... I've got to get this right because this is the pun. If I play King Crimson over Bluetooth, do you think I'd get Deep Purple?
Oh, that's very ouch.
For a dyslexic, I just didn't get it. I just had to think about that. Octavio, dear Toyah, should I play more variations of Fracture to see if Robert wants to be my friend? What is your advice? The best way to be Robert's friend is to buy him cake. That's all you have to do. Or just ignore him. But whatever you do, he will do the opposite of your expectations. Am I right there?
No, but my answer to this is Octavio is already my friend. However, if he would like to develop another approach to his variations on Fracture, perhaps begin with an upbeat and an upstroke and play any of the variations from that basis. So rather than beginning on a downbeat, begin on an upbeat.
Oh, that goes with temperament as well, doesn't it? Up rather than down.
I have learned from my wife yet again.
Okay, I'll shut up. D. Skinner, question. If one encounters obstacles in one's work, being distracted or getting caught up in details in a way that uses up excessive time and energy without producing a result, what is the antidote? I have an answer to this.
Please, lovely.
Okay. I use the death stare. And the death stare doesn't mean death, it just means you will not penetrate my thought process. And then, in this situation that you're talking about, you have a right to exert personal power over others' distractions, because creativity is a sacred act that grows within the soul and makes the soul identifiable and strong. It's almost criminal to distract someone who is in a creative process.
I have nothing that I can add to that.
See, I've learnt this by living with Robert. Wouldn't dare distract him. And vice versa. Now, we're going to finish on a really, really important question.
Burning.
It's burning. It's absolutely burning.
Who sent this burning question? Jason Nicholson.
Dear Toyah and Robert, we have a major debate at work. Who were the most influential live act ever? The Clangers or the Moomins?
Dude, you need to reframe. There are two qualifying acts for this. The first is the Shags. The second is the Remipeds.
Well, Jason, if you're talking about the children's programmes, these wonderful programmes in black and white, and not a band, the Moomins. So special, so special. So everyone, thank you so much for your questions. Please keep them coming in, because we love doing this, and it gets Frippy Cox thinking, and it's really good for him. And don't forget tomorrow's Sunday lunch, which is quite a fun one. Robert needs rescuing in it, so please don't miss it, and we will see you next week. Thinking of you, lots of love, stay happy, stay safe. Woo!